Didn't connect.
Good morning. Morning. How's everyone? Come on, you can do better than that. Good
Morning.
Good. Call and response. I'm going to call to order the June 6th meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Note the presence of all three commissioners. And we are going to have the Montgomery County Community College men's basketball team lead us in the pledge. So, sorry to put you on the spot, but you can kick us off.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Great job, guys. Okay, so, hold on. All right. So today, June 1st marks the beginning of Pride Month, and we held our 6th annual Pride flag raising. We had more than 75 people attend this event outside the courthouse on Monday. At the flag raising, I mentioned a report released earlier this year by the Human Rights Campaign. This report names Pennsylvania the 25th out of 50 states regarding anti-discrimination protections for LGBTQ plus people. We know there's a lot of work to be done at the state and federal level. Here at the county level, we are currently looking at forming an LGBTQ commission. This commission would advise on inclusive policies, programs, and services to better meet the needs of our diverse residents. We'll be making an announcement later this month with more details about how residents can apply to participate. So I'm really proud of our work to continue to create an inclusive community for all, and I look forward to partnering with our friends and neighbors from the LGBTQ plus community as we celebrate Pride, but also bring about a commission that can help inform how we make decisions and policy changes as a result of the feedback and guidance they give us. So more details to come on that. Montgomery County is excited to host a Juneteenth flag raising event on Tuesday, June 18th at 10 a.m. Juneteenth is the commemoration of Union soldiers emancipating Galveston, Texas in 1865. The final place to be informed of General Order Number 3, which was the enforced slavery's end. It's critical for us to recognize what happened on this day 159 years ago as we work to elevate the Black community of Montgomery County. This holiday recognizes the achievement and excellency from that horror of enslavement. So we hope that the community will join us for a prayer and reading of the Emancipation Proclamation. And if it was not for that Emancipation Proclamation and all of our or my ancestors, I wouldn't be sitting before you today. And so I'd like to invite the community to really embrace this holiday and think about the meaning of the holiday and how it, again, recognizes the sacrifice of those that have come before us, but also acknowledges that we still have so much more work to do. And so I'd love for the community to come out and join us. And then finally, today, June 6th, is the 80th anniversary of D-Day. My fellow commissioners will share a little more information in their comments, but I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the bravery and sacrifice of the Allied forces who stormed the beaches of Normandy in 1944. Today I was watching Good Morning America, as I usually do in my morning routine, and President Biden and other world leaders were there, as there were many of the soldiers that are now well into their 90s that went back to Normandy to recognize this day and remember that horrific moment that they experienced at a young age. So this anniversary is a powerful reminder of the courage and resilience displayed during one of the most significant military operations in our country's or in our world's history. And I want to say that there are, I think, nine Montgomery County residents that were there that day. And so we want to take a moment to honor them as well. And so now I want to turn it over to my colleague, Commissioner Makija, for his remarks.
Thank you so much. I wish everyone a happy Pride Month. It was really wonderful to have so many people here when we raised the flag at the county just a few days ago. And our poet laureate, who really made a fantastic poem that was illuminating to me for many reasons. He talked about the Stonewall Rebellion as opposed to a riot, explaining why it's important to recognize that the people who stood up against violence, state-sanctioned violence at that time, were really fighting for basic rights and dignity that continues today in many different forms. And something that Commissioner Winder and I both spoke on was the need to establish employment protections in Pennsylvania so that it's no longer legal to fire someone because of who they are, who they love. That's something that has happened in other states, has not happened here. I want to recognize there are 26 municipalities, including Whitpain Township, where we were last night, where ordinances have been enacted to create protections for LGBTQ people through a Human Relations Commission. While we can't currently pass something like that due to our county code at the county level, what we can do is encourage other municipalities to follow suit. There's 26 in the county that have established protections against discrimination through Human Relations Commissions, and there are, of course, 62 in total. So there are many more to go, and of course that's something we want to advocate for as a protection statewide. You'll hear more from us, and I'm sure we'll be around the county throughout Pride Month. There are many flags. I think tonight Abington is raising a flag, or at least two places in Abington. Another issue I want to recognize is Gun Violence Awareness Month. So, tomorrow is Gun Violence Awareness Day, during which we recognize over 100,000 Americans who are impacted by gun violence every year. In Montgomery County, it's an issue that is higher than Pennsylvania's rate on average in terms of the rate of incidence of gun violence every year. And one thing in particular that we can do at the county level is really focus on the sale of illegal guns and how we can prevent that, because most gun violence deaths are perpetrated, or a vast number of them are perpetrated disproportionately by guns that are sold illegally. And there are some initiatives that have already begun or have been undertaken by two of our officers, in particular District Attorney Kevin Steele and his in particular, the Detective Bureau has investigated and prosecuted gun trafficking and straw purchases involving over 1,000 illegal guns already, which is really significant work that has to be commended in terms of the number of people that they may have protected as a result of getting those guns off the street. So I really want to recognize the District Attorney and the whole team in the DA's office on this issue, as well as our Sheriff, Sean Kilkenny, recently created a new policy and practice that hasn't been implemented yet because it's being disputed, but he's creating an initiative to inspect firearms dealers to make sure they're in compliance and not engaging in straw purchases and a number of other practices that they need to take as sellers to make sure their guns don't end up in the hands of those who can't have them. And Sean's been recognized for those efforts really across the state. So two other things in terms of D-Day. So there were 9 residents of Montgomery County who died on D-Day that we're aware of, and the sheriff is actually telling their stories right now at the Veterans Resource Team Conference, which is at the Valley Forge Casino. And there are 4 that I'm aware of right now, and I want to thank our Veterans Affairs team for helping put this together. who are alive, including one, and I'll name a few of them. Alan Shapiro, who was a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army Air Corps. He lives in Bluebell. He's actually in Normandy today to give a commemorative speech, and he had a send-off with local police departments, for those of you who aren't aware, who really recognize just the extraordinary story, the courage, the sacrifice that was made by so many Americans on that day for the sake of all of our ideals of freedom, democracy, and it's it's really extraordinary that we were able to have people that we can still recognize today who were there. Two others I'll mention. Jack Goodrich served in the Air Force as a lieutenant and won Chinese Gold Medal of Honor in 1945. Abner Edward Younger, who served in the Montford Point Marines as one of the first African Americans to enlist in the Marines, recently received a Congressional Gold Medal for his service. To these brave men here in Montgomery County and to all the men and women who serve in our armed services, I want to thank you on behalf of the Board of Commissioners for your sacrifice and service in the name of our freedoms. And finally, we also look ahead before our next meeting to Father's Day, and that's June 16th. This is my first Father's Day as a dad, so hopefully something exciting happens, although, but yeah, we're proud to support, as commissioners, all the parents out there, and in particular, we passed this paid leave policy that is one of the best in Pennsylvania, and that's because we recognize the struggle of parenthood, but also the joy and the idea that every person who works in this county should have the chance to be supported as parents, in addition to the ways we support them as employees and people as a whole. So happy Father's Day to everyone out there who's a dad. So go ahead, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Well, I'll just touch upon, obviously, we've been talking about D-Day. It is the 8th anniversary, as mentioned, and that invasion on June 6, 1944 was probably one of the most modern-day invasions that changed the course of our world. And the men and women that participated throughout World War II are commended for all of their service and all their hard work and all their dedication. And as too, I was watching the different news stations this morning, and when you hear about the pride during that time when young Americans were actually lying about their age so they could go and join the forces, it was a sense of pride, and that's just amazing because they got minimal or no training. They were put on a boat and sent overseas, and a lot of them died within days of getting there. So their heroism and valor displayed on that day is particularly unimaginable for us today. Nearly 2,500 Americans died on that day, but as we all know, it was a very successful invasion. It led to the war ending a year later when the Nazis when Germany surrendered. So it's 80 years later. It's amazing. I'm proud to be able to see all of the ceremonies, all of the dedication, watching what was occurring in Normandy this morning, all the speeches from our world leaders. It's just amazing, and it's a shame because that is known as the greatest generation, and there's very few left across the world, and a lot of them that made the trip there today probably won't be able to, or may not be around and make that trip again. So I just, if you, throughout the day, just take a few minutes to, remember those that gave their lives and sacrificed so much for us, so where we are today. It's so important, and it allows us to have the freedoms that we have, and be able to do all the different celebrations that we do honor throughout the year. A lot of it is driven from the men and women that participated in World War II, and especially those that invaded the beaches of Normandy. So with that, also, couple other things going on. We had for those that may or may not know this, we had a fire in Pottstown last week at one of our elderly centers. It was a 9-story building. It started on the 5th floor. There were a few people that were that had to be brought to the hospital for related injuries. But I was able to stop up there after, like, later that morning, and I just want to commend not only all the fire services that came from all around the Pottstown area, including those in Pottstown. They did an amazing job to quickly respond and get all of the residents out quickly. And it was just an amazing scene. But also our emergency services staff that was on site and coordinating back here in the county at the, what group is it? Public, yeah. I can never-
Department of Public Safety.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. McCowan's here today.
Yep. They did, I mean, it was just an amazing, they did an amazing job, and just watching them in action, how well precise they were going step by step and making sure that everything was taken care of and everything, you know, and the Red Cross was there coordinating. So it was just amazing to watch all this in action. So I want to commend, you know, everyone that was, you know, from the county that participated as well. They did an incredible job. Also, we have the Erie Street Prison update real quick. As you know, we held back on demolishing that, and, you know, we are working diligently on figuring out what is the best thing to do within that half a block in Norristown, right, you know, right over here. At our last commissioners meeting, we approved the contract to do a structural assessment and condition study of the prison. So we hope for that to be completed this fall. But, you know, a big step of this is we want to engage the public on this project too. We created a webpage to engage our Monco. We created a webpage on our Engage Monco platform to help inform the public about the Erie Street Prison. You could go to the site today and complete a quick survey to share your thoughts about the prison project. Please check out engage.montgomerycountypa.gov and tell us what you think the prison and/or space could be used for. So we value your input. Let's see. And then, we have National Trails Days coming up, Saturday, June 1st. We have over 100 miles of trails in Montgomery County. It's a great place to celebrate. This Saturday, June 8th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, the Montgomery County Planning Commission is hosting a free community design event in Norristown to improve the entrances to the Schuylkill River Trail. Stop by the intersections of Haas Avenue and West Washington Street and have your say on how to make the trailheads more user-friendly and accessible. This is the important part, there will be free snacks plus activities for the kids. So please go and participate in that. And don't forget about the Monco Trail Challenge. It's open now through December 2nd. You can register online and visit, 18 trails that we have through Montgomery County. And then finally, we have a little bit of recognition and celebration. I'm excited to shift to sports. We don't often talk about sports in these meetings, but until Bryce Harper one of his home runs lands on the blue route, we're going to bring it back to Montgomery County. For those that may know, I'm a big supporter of youth sports in our communities. Win or lose, team sports are one of the best ways to teach kids the values of hard work and contributing to a team. I've been a long-time coach of different youth sports. I've started youth sports organizations. I ran for over 16 years, providing an environment for 3,000 to 4,000 kids annually across the county. So I'm a huge supporter of anything we could do for kids and for all different type of activities. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just biased towards sports. There's a lot of activities, but today we want to recognize Montgomery County Community College basketball team, the Mustangs. They recently finished a historic season. The team exceeded expectations this season, posting a dominant 20-3 record in the regular season. What the heck? And winning the EPAC conference title back in February. The Mustangs went on to 6th place in the National Junior College Athletic Association Division III tournament. While they didn't bring home the national title, not this year, but soon coming, I hope. It was a very impressive season for Montgomery County, and it bodes well for the next season as they look to build on their success. The student athletes balance excellence on the court and in the classroom. That's really the great thing about college sports. They mold young men and women into great members of our community. So at this point, I'm happy to present a commendation to representatives here today. Freshman forward Sean Empfinger, a liberal studies major who was named to the all-tournament team at the NJCAA tournament. Freshman forward Frank St. Tildor, an environmental studies major from Elkins Park. And assistant coach Levi Sharif, and athletic director Kelly Dunbar, and Phil Needles, the vice president of engagement and student experiences. I believe you're all here that I just mentioned. So we want to present from the county commissioners. We're very happy and proud of your accomplishment this year. We'd like to present you with a commendation and also get a picture up front.
You're in the middle.
You guys get in the middle. Tall guys in front.
There you go.
Thank you. Got everyone?
I got it, okay.
Oh, you're good. Look right here. Thank you.
Great.
Great. Congratulations. Thanks for coming in, okay?
Thank you,
All right.
Thank you. Great job, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Yep.
Okay. So before we bring up our presenter, Ryan Matthews, I just wanted to share a few remarks. So at the Pride event on Monday, Commissioner McKeeja and I expressed our support for a bill that is currently sitting in the Senate that would codify LGBTQ rights, and Commissioner McKeeja mentioned this briefly. PA House Bill 300 would add sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity and expression to the list of prohibited types of discrimination in housing, employment, and public services. These protections exist in official guidance, but there's no formal law that prohibits someone from losing their job. Commissioner McKeeja spoke about this, for sharing that they have a same-sex partner. The bill passed the House, and we hope that it's voted into law in the state Senate. In 2024, if you think about it, it's long past due that those protections are made into the law. And so here in Montgomery County, we are committed to enshrining these same protections for all citizens. That's why I'd like to present an anti-discrimination proclamation here today. So this proclamation, as a Board of Commissioners, denounces all forms of bigotry against our residents as well as visitors to the county, confirms our commitment to the transcendent principles of tolerance, religious freedom, and equal protection, and encourages any victim of discrimination in this county to seek resolution through the PA Human Relations Commission. In Montgomery County, due to the class of our county, and Commissioner McKeeja mentioned this briefly, we're not able to issue ordinances like Whippane Township, because I spent time over the last 6 months asking why we couldn't on topics that are not specifically designated to us by the Commonwealth. So I just want to explain why, because many of our community members have asked why. So as a Class 2A county, the Commonwealth does not give us the power to legislate in this area. So by state law, we cannot pass an ordinance on this topic. So today's proclamation is the next best thing we can do to demonstrate our commitment to the LGBTQ+ community, but other communities that face and still face discrimination throughout our Commonwealth and in our county. The proclamation is a way that we outline our values as commissioners and work to create a Montgomery County that is truly welcoming as a home for all. With that, I'd like to invite Ryan Matthews up, and we're going to present the proclamation to you. So if you could just come up first, we're going to give you this proclamation, and then we'll jump into your presentation. Come on up. Oh, yeah. Great, thank you. And the floor is yours.
You got it. Yeah.
So Ryan Matthews is the PA State Director of the Human Rights Campaign, and we asked him, in the spirit of the proclamation and Pride Month, to come in and give us a presentation for the Human Rights Campaign. So thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairwoman Winder and Commissioners McKeesha and DeBello. My name is Ryan Matthews. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm the Pennsylvania State Director for the Human Rights Campaign. The Human Rights Campaign is the nation's largest LGBTQ civil rights organization based on membership. We envision a world where LGBTQ people are ensured of their basic equal rights and where we can be open, honest, and safe at home, work, and in our community. 1 year ago today, HRC took the unprecedented step of issuing a state of emergency for LGBTQ people in the United States. And that was due to a historic wave of legislative assaults sweeping state legislatures that year. Those attacks have not abated. And while none of those laws have become enacted in Pennsylvania, many of those bills were introduced in our General Assembly. And across the Commonwealth, school board meetings have become battlegrounds as local politicians have tried to scapegoat queer youth for electoral gain. These attacks are not without consequence. In the past year alone, we have lost children in Pennsylvania who felt so hopeless in the face of the hate they've received from their community and their elected officials that they've taken their own lives. Now, I know that you are not school board directors, nor have you been elected to the General Assembly. But as leaders of the third most populous county in Pennsylvania, you have an important role to play in building that world we envision, and we are so deeply grateful that you have taken such an important step on that today. For all of the reasons that you expertly outlined, many counties in Pennsylvania's hands are tied when it comes to passing local ordinances. According to the Movement Advancement Project, only about 37% of Pennsylvanians live in a place where they are protected by a municipal regulation or in a county that is able to pass a regulation. The resolution that you've passed today recognizes that instances of discrimination do occur based not just on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, but also on race, color, religion, national origin, pregnancy, age, family status, veteran status, disability, marital status, and income. And it appropriately rejects discriminatory actions based on stereotypes, and it urges Montgomery County residences to seek relief from the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. That commission is currently taking complaints based on sexual orientation and gender identity. And it is really important that residents of Montgomery County and Pennsylvania understand, particularly LGBTQ Pennsylvanians, that they have a means to redress in these situations. But it's also important that they know that those means are not codified into law. A change in leadership at the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission or in our state could result in those protections being taken away. Not only are the actions and the resolution that you're taking today important, but your continued advocacy on this issue and calling attention to that fact, particularly with Montgomery County's representatives in Harrisburg, are particularly important. One of the reasons why only 37% of the state is covered is precisely because most of the counties in the state are in a similar situation as Montgomery and don't have the power granted to them by the state and rely on the state to do that. Oftentimes we hear from legislators when our members are lobbying them that they don't see this as being an important problem because the Human Relations Commission is currently taking complaints. And I think there is no one more qualified in the state than commissioners like yourselves to explain to our representatives why this is so needed and why your hands are tied on the situation, despite what your constituents may want you to do. This resolution is not the only action that you all are taking this month, and I also want to express deep gratitude for the LGBTQ Affairs Commission that you all are working on creating. By establishing a commission that's going to be representative of the county's ethnic, gender, race, age, sexual orientation, and ability and geographic diversity, you are going to create a vital conduit through which the county's LGBTQ community can express its needs and its lived experiences of how it's experiencing county government. This establishes you all as a leader in the state on this issue, and we deeply appreciate it. You demonstrated the same commitment earlier this week with the flag raising ceremony. That is not an empty gesture. Anytime a young trans kid who feels like she has nowhere to turn sees that there are people who are leading the government that is closest to their lives, sees them and respects them, that is potentially the difference between them making it through their school experience and them not. So on behalf of those young kids, HRC's more than 3 million members and supporters nationwide, I deeply thank you for the steps you've taken today, this month, and in the years to come to help ensure that LGBTQ people in Montgomery County have their basic rights so that they can be open, honest, and safe at home, work, and in their beautiful communities. Thank you so much for the opportunity to address you today, and again for this wonderful resolution.
And Ryan, thank you for, I know that you're doing this work across the Commonwealth, and I appreciate you taking time to talk to me, help advise our team on how we can take real steps, not empty steps that will invoke real change and advocacy for this important work. And I oftentimes reflect on my experience as a Black person growing up in a community where no one looked like me, and my parents did an awesome job shielding us from what I now know was a very difficult journey, right, to ensuring that their children had the same rights, be it around education, be it access to just any type of opportunity. And I can only imagine, what friends and neighbors, even our young friends and neighbors, are experiencing. It's a similar feeling, but not the same. So I can be empathetic to the plight and truly believe in creating inclusive communities and taking time to meet people where they are and understand their experience navigating a very complicated world. So if we could all lead with love and empathy and understanding, the world would be a much better place. So I want to thank you for your lessons, your advocacy. And I went to the HRC dinner in Philadelphia, and boy, was it awesome. So I'm learning a lot in terms of the things that I can do as an ally. And I'd like to give a shout out to some, Ricky Buttacavoli and Megan and Lori. There are people that I surround myself with so I can gain better understanding and so that I can use this seat for better good. So I want to just thank you for your leadership, and I know it's a hard fight, but it's a fight that needs to be done. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for those remarks and for your leadership.
Of course.
No, absolutely.
No, I concur on everything that was said, and thank you for coming out and advising us on the things that we can do and what would be most helpful. I think the one thing I would just add is while we've seen tremendous progress in the last 10 years in terms of rights for LGBTQ people, they're very much, we've also seen a retrenchment or a revocation of rights that we've had for decades for women. And to think that the right to marry was a 5-4 decision on the U.S. Supreme Court is really, I think, drives home the point that this is not a one-way street in terms of expanding rights and dignity and opportunity. So that's something that we're keenly aware of when we think about the actions that we take and the importance of mobilizing in the way that you do.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons that we've learned over the last 50 years is that the LGBTQ community did not get here alone. We got here through the actions of brave and strong allies, and that's how we're going to be able to defend the rights that we've been able to secure for our community. So thank you so much for those remarks and for your actions.
Thank you, Ryan, for being here.
Thank you for asking me.
Well, I just want
Yeah, go ahead.
to, because I want to thank you for all your work that you're doing in Harrisburg and your outreach into all the municipalities and all that. I am supportive of the resolution as well. I think, as you mentioned about envisioning a world, I too envision a world where everyone is treated equally and the same no matter what their background, race, sexual preference, religious beliefs are. I mean, that's what we have to promote. That's what I promote. It frustrates me when I see any one group, going after or having a bias towards another group. And we all, as leaders and all that, we need to continue to work together to ensure that even though we may have personal beliefs, it doesn't mean that it gives us a right to bully or to degrade or whatever it may be, or even treat people terribly. I've been in the corporate world for many years, I don't even want to say, and I was a small business owner, and I had the opportunities to hire a lot of people in my career, and when they would come in, the only thing I looked at was their background and experience from an education and work experience standpoint. I didn't care about anything else, and that's what I promote and that's what I stand behind, and I think that that's the best we could hope for, and we can continue this fight to ensure that everyone is treated equally no matter what. So I am, like I said, I'm very supportive of the resolution. I support the work that you're doing, and hopefully we do have brighter days ahead of us. So again, thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thanks for those comments. And in my experience in advocating for the Fairness Act, one of the bigger hurdles we have is just the belief that many people have, particularly folks who come out of the private business world, that this is already a law.
Right.
And so the work of the commission today, raising awareness on that is a huge help. So thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner DeBello, for that, and thank you for your support. Okay?
Thank
You're
you.
off the hook. Thank you, Ryan.
I
mean, that's an easy topic. No tough questions. Okay. Next up, we have public comment. So as a reminder, this section of public comment is for today's pending votes, resolutions, bids, RFPs, et cetera. 3-minute limit, and there's a timer to the left.
We have no public comment.
Wow. Is it a full moon? Okay. All right, well, there's still another section. Okay. All right, so thank you for that. Next up, I'd like to invite Steve Forrester, our Commerce Director, up to talk about an authorization of a TEFRA.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Forster, Director of Commerce. Thank you for the opportunity to present our request for a resolution approving a project and the issuance of a bond to enable a next-generation farmer to purchase a 46-acre farm in New Hanover Township, Montgomery County. It's all right. The farm to be financed is located at 3060 Juan Ziegler Road in Pennsburg. The applicant, Hinterhoff Farm, will move to sheep farming and breeding. They're moving their existing business there, and it will maintain grain production on the site. The total project cost is $830,000, and the loan amount is $415,000, and the farm will employ 2 full-time people. Next slide, please. There we go. You can see the location there is to the eastern side of Pennsburg. This is in the northwestern corner of the county and just north and east of Green Lane Reservoir. Next slide, please. And this is an outline of the farm. I realize as I look at this, I'm going to rely on Planning Commission in the future for artwork and design because my squiggles don't really compare, but that's approximately the 46-acre farm on both sides of Juan Ziegler Road there. Next slide, please. The bond is to be issued by the Central and Western Chester County Industrial Development Authority, which for the purposes of my request today, I will refer to as the IDA or the IDA issuer. The IDA is issuing this agricultural bond through a program called the Next Generation Farm Loan Program, designed to assist beginning farmers with purchasing and operating family farms and preserving that farmland and its produce for this generation and hopefully for future generations. The authority for the program is so-called the Aggie Bond Program, established in 1980 by the federal government and currently authorized in 18 states, including Pennsylvania. Since 2000 in Pennsylvania, the program has financed over 230 farm loans totaling over $100 million. It's designed to permit small balance, low-cost loans to new farmers. The loans under this program are capped at about $680,000, and the bond funding them is purposely made very efficient to reduce the cost to new farmers as much as possible. Next slide, please. The bond is a tax-exempt private activity bond established through a federal-state partnership that allows private lenders to receive federal and state tax-exempt interest on the loans made. The tax savings allows the lenders to provide loans at a reduced rate, about 25% less than market typically, to the new farmer, while the credit decisions and the financial risk remain with the local lending institution. Neither Montgomery County nor the Montgomery County IDA nor the IDA issuer take any financial risk nor obligation in this transaction, and nothing about it affects the county's balance sheet. In Montgomery County, we benefit through one, the commitment of the continuation of the farm being purchased. Number two, the new employment and the output of the farm itself. And number three, the Montco IDA and the Commerce Department together are learning about this program and now adding a new tool to our economic development toolbox. Next slide, please. The bond issue was properly advertised in the Times Herald on May 28th, which is at least 7 days in advance of the TEFRA hearing. That is the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982. And the hearing took place on June 4th in Chester County and was approved by the IDA with no public comment. I therefore request your approval of the resolution as presented by the solicitor, approving the request and the issuance of the bond, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about the program or the project. And we have our First Deputy Assistant Solicitor Maureen Calder here as well to answer any questions about the TEFRA or the bond issue that you may have. And that's it. Thank you for your consideration.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Great job on that presentation. Thank you. Is this your first time
Yes, it
presenting
is.
in front? Okay, I
Thank
thought
you.
so. Okay, nice job. Here's to many more. Any comments?
No,
Oh,
I'm
wait,
sorry.
Wait,
Go ahead.
sorry, let me
No,
make a
no,
motion.
yep.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution number 1, just as described by Mr. Steve Forrester. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Go ahead, your comment.
I was just gonna say, this is a great opportunity, and it is another farm, saved, or, that we're gonna be preserving, and, so great presentation, and I hope to see many more of these in the future as well.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I agree.
Easy.
There
All
you
right,
go.
so we'll move to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So folks may have seen that we would be moving forward with appointments for the Women's Commission. I just want to stress that we are still very excited to form the commission, but we're actually going to take a little more time to think through the commission, and we hope to have it back on the agenda in the next month or so. So I want to thank everyone for their patience and excitement around the commission coming to life. All right, next up, I'd like to invite Katie Halen up to review our personnel list.
Good morning. Sorry, went faster than I thought it was going to go.
Yes, yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Commissioners Department's personnel list. It is a 3-page document dated June 5th, 2024, with a timestamp of 9 a.m. All positions have been reviewed and accounted for and are presented for your consideration.
Great, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the June 6, 2024 personnel presentation as given by Ms. Catherine Halen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve the advertisements of bids and RFPs for Montgomery County on attached Exhibit A. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next up, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contracts, awards, amendments, and renewals for Montgomery County as seen on attached Exhibit B. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Makija. Any board comment? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, awards of contract Southeast PA Regional Task Force. I'd like to make a motion to approve the contracts, awards, amendments, and renewals for Southeast PA Regional Task Force on attached Exhibit C. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comments? Moving to a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Public comment. This is general public comment, and this is related to items that are on or may be before the Board of Commissioners. All public comments need to stay under or at 3 minutes.
We have Arthur Henry.
Good morning. As some of you
Can you
know,
state-
I've been
state
in
your
Bucks
na-
County Prison for
Excuse
the
me, can you
last,
state your name and where you live?
Arthur Henry III. I live in my car.
Okay,
As some of you know, for the last 5 weeks, I've been in Bucks County Prison for 5 weeks. I was put there based on 2 harassment charges that were filed by a corrupt cop of New Britain Township, David Jaskowiak, who's been the court-assigned lawyer to my loved person, and also by a Pennsylvania state cop. Those 2 harassment charges were based on me picketing on a public sidewalk in front of Jaskowiak's home, who I believe has been a leader of this guardianship mafia that has existed in Montgomery County and nationwide.
Mr. Henry, is this related to Montgomery County business that will come before this board?
No, you said it was public comments.
And it has to be on topics that may come before this board. It's
So
not-
is this
it's- This is not about anything you want to talk about, so.
Well,
it's
is
something-
that part coming up?
No, that's our standard public comment procedure.
Well, it involves corrupt judges and corrupt
We
guardians.
do
in
not,
the-
we do not control the courts in Montgomery County.
That's true, you may not, but the fact is, you do live in Montgomery County, and you do pay taxes in Montgomery County, and you're
And
not
there- and there's
concerned
a-
about that money being supported
There,
to
there is a,
protect the
there is a
mafia?
grievance process that you can take up with the courts. So if your public comments are not related to what will come before this board, we're not gonna listen to your public comments.
So you want to keep the public ignorant of the fact of what's
I don't
going
wanna,
on
I
in
don't
the
wanna do
courts
any of
and
this, and
guardianship
this is not gonna be a
corruption?
debate. So if your public comments are not related to what will come before this board, we're not gonna listen to your public comments.
So at no, t-
Thank you. Next up,
nice seeing you again, Robbins.
Okay, on Zoom, we have Adrian Seltzer.
Adrian, can you hear us?
Hello, Adrian Seltzer, Lower Merion. I wanted to invite the Board of Commissioners to the Freedom on the Main Line event on June 22nd, which is our Juneteenth celebration. It is from 12 to 4 p.m. and it is at Vernon Young Playground. I will send an email to you all saying that, but everybody is invited, and we hope that you come out for it. We're also looking for poets, dancers, singers to be part of the entertainment. So I hope you can hear me because I can't hear you. I haven't been able to hear you guys. for this
can-
meeting. And
We can hear you, but you probably can't. I'll give you a thumbs up. We heard you.
I think you said that you can hear me.
We can.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian. Next up?
That's all for public comment.
Okay. Wow. We're doing well today, guys. Okay. So any closing commissioner comments?
I just have a couple comments. I know we're entering into the budget season, and I know that we have meetings set up, that we're gonna be meeting with the CFO, and he's gonna be bringing us up to speed on several things that, from a budget standpoint. And, one of the things that kind of crossed my mind is that when I was on the school board, one of the things I did was, and I was also chair of the finance committee, is that we put in place what we call dashboard monthly reports. And I don't recall, I'm not sure that there's actually anything at the county that's created that way. And we would review them every month and, publicly. And the idea is to give a state of, the current state of where we are with the budget, with the different aspects of from a school district standpoint. And I'm thinking that, that we should have, or we could have something in place that's very similar to that shows, unless there is something I'm not aware of, because again, I'm only in this role a couple months, so we're still uncovering and learning a lot of different things. A lot of great things are happening in Montgomery County. But again, I'm thinking that, we should be able to create some type of dashboard reports. And I won't go into detail as far as what those reports look like, but at a high level, the idea would be is to paint where we are currently within the county, budget-wise, and some other things, personnel-wise, new hires, or open positions, all these different things that exist. And it's just one packet of stuff that could or should be submitted to the commissioners each month. And, we could decide at a future do we want to review that every meeting, or if that's something that we want to have given to us each month, so we have a clear understanding. Because I like to know from a budget standpoint, where are we at year to date? Are we on target? Are we under budget, over budget? And then we would actually be able to, based on historical data, we would actually be able to draw conclusions on, when we end the year, the budget year, we're going to know exactly where we're at on each budgetary item. So it's just something for us to consider. I think that we should have that in place, because when we're asked questions, I'd like to be able to answer them, based on the information that's given to us. And the other thing that I just want to bring up is, at our last meeting, we approved some new positions, and two of them were two deputy COOs positions, and which will give us a total of 3. And as you know, I kind of struggled with the whole idea, but I supported that, and I was thinking about it further, and I thought, structurally for the county and the number of employees and the size of the budget and all that, it makes sense. I have further support of that moving forward. But one of the things that putting on my corporate hat when I've hired high-level positions like that, one of the things that I would do when new people would come in or new positions like this were created is I would actually challenge them to, because we're putting this oversight, this better oversight, more detailed oversight in place, where I would like to see recommendations once they get rolling, recommendations coming back of where we could see, something like 10%, cost savings or reductions with each of their areas of responsibility, because that would actually demonstrate the real need that they're able to, and I'm not saying that there's waste or anything like that, but it just gives us an opportunity to really explore each of these departments and see where we could find and save in expenses. So there are just 2 things I was thinking about.
Thank you for sharing. So we can certainly ensure that for the entire board. Dean gives us a sense of what the day-to-day management of, the P&L, for lack of a better word, how that's managed with department heads. I don't disagree with you on, I'm like you in corporate, and, you know, there was always a monthly sit-down with me as a department head, you know, walking through expenses and revenues coming in, and so we should absolutely think about how do we evolve that process. I know generally there is talk about just improving our entire budgeting process, and so let's have Dean fill you
Yeah,
in
I'm
and
not saying
give
we
you
have
some
to, I'm
suggestions.
just throwing it
Yeah,
out
no,
there as something
that's
for
fine.
us to think about how we could evolve, especially
That's
as we're
fine.
getting into this budget season. It's something that we can incorporate as we're moving forward.
And then I've also directed Dean, you know, in this budgeting process, right? Look, we are bringing on a lot of new hires as a new administration, recognizing that two of you were not here when we budgeted last year, but wanting to give this administration room to have a people strategy that would help us make sure that we've got the right people in the right chairs, that we're able to implement on our various, you know, policy areas. But we should equally go through an exercise of sitting down with our senior management team, our role officers, and looking at where we've been spending, because status quo is, I know, is not the way in which this Board of Commissioners wants the county to operate. And so I've asked Dean, as a part of the budgeting process, to ask our leaders coming into those budget discussions to think about what they need for an ideal state, right? Whether it's people, whether it's systems, but think about also where there may be waste, right? And where there's redundancies, because we know there's a lot of redundancies. And so that will be a part of our budgeting process. And I'm not saying that it hasn't been in the past, but I wanted us to be deliberate on asking that very specific question, so that we can get at what you're suggesting.
Yep.
So that will happen. And yeah, so that's that. Any other comments?
Sure. Yeah, I would just say, I feel the same, and I've shared that with Dean as well. A question that I'd want to ask or have each of the departments answer is, you know, if your budget was 5, 10, 15% more, what would you do differently? And if it was 5, 10, 15% less, what would you do differently, so that we get a sense of prioritization in terms of budgets? Where are areas where we can modernize? Where can we find savings? And also, realistically, though, I don't want to scare people, because I'm well aware that many of our departments are vastly under-resourced, and that is a problem when you compare. Particularly, I've seen it most in voter services, where neighboring counties have significantly more, if not double or triple, level of funding. I'm amazed at what people in our county government are able to accomplish on the resources that they have. So just definitely want to put that out there, because I know it's a stressful thing to examine the budget and go through the process, but it's important for us to innovate and modernize. And Tom, in terms of what you're saying in data visualization, I mean, that's something that takes an investment. You need a data team. They need to be able to produce those kinds of reports, but then once you have the data, you can make smarter decisions. You know?
And then I think just on, and we'll get to salary board next, on salary board, there is a new role that has been created in the spirit of, right, thinking about investments. We need to be smart about, like, being proactive and going out and seeking more opportunities to bring revenues into the county. And the team that has been here has done a fantastic job of bringing in grants, and but we have an opportunity to look at public-private partnerships. How do we deepen our relationships with foundations? So we are now going to, with this new person, going to be like having a central office that will focus, all they do all day is focus on ways in which we can bring additional resources in the county, so we can do all the things that we want to do, but not always burden the taxpayer in ways to bring more revenue in. So more to come on that, but I know that this board takes our fiduciary responsibility really seriously. But you know, from all of our lenses, we've come in and it's, in some instances, been shocking, right? How the great employees of Montgomery County have been able to do their work with, in some instances, limited resources. So we're trying to think about smart ways to help every department get after what they need to do for the residents of Montgomery County.
You
So
want to mention what position that is?
it's the office. The grant.
Yeah, the senior grants.
Yep,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, yeah.
Oh, you want, do I want to offer, yeah, so it's the, what's the actual title? It's the senior grants.
And I'm assuming that's development.
Yep, that's
I
it.
just saw it as
Senior,
grants.
it's a senior grants and development manager that we're really excited to bring on board to do that work. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned it.
I was like, did you just learn about it?
No.
So that's why I reacted that way.
No, I'm just saying.
That would be on Lee.
Well, hey, let me
Okay.
tell you about Lee. Anyway, no, you just mentioned that we're hiring this position, but you didn't mention which one it was, that's all. I'm saying.
Yeah, good catch. Okay, so,
And I just want to say that a good grant writer brings their costs like tenfold.
yeah,
So.
oh, absolutely.
I think.
No pressure.
No pressure, but I think it's a
Put a
good
number
move.
out there, yeah.
I know, but I've been in similar situations of hiring people like this, and they have the experience, they have the knowledge, and they're always very successful. So
Yeah, well, hoping so. I think the
Yeah.
team is excited about the role and the candidate. All right, upcoming meeting dates. Our next Board of Commissioners meeting is Thursday, June 27th at 10 a.m. in this boardroom. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the June 6, 2024 meeting of the Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. Is there a second?
second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up is Salary Board, and our controller is here. We didn't know. So, thanks. Good morning.
I didn't see it.
Is there any public comment for
I just mentioned.
Salary Board? Is there any okay. Oh, you're checking? No, okay. All right, so I would like to invite Catherine Halen up, to do the Salary Board presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners and members of the Salary Board. You should have in front of you the final copy of the Salary Board list. It is a 3-page document dated June 5th, 2024, with a timestamp of 9 a.m. All positions have been reviewed and accounted for and are presented for the Salary Board's consideration.
Great. I'd like to make a motion to approve the January 6th. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just, All right, motion to approve the June 6th, 2024 Salary Board presentation as given by Ms. Catherine Halen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
That was easy. Good. All right, we have a retiree acknowledgement. I'd like to invite John up.
Good morning. My
Good
name
morning.
is John Savith. I'm the Deputy Court Administrator for the Magisterial District Courts in our county. I have a wonderful opportunity this morning to recognize an employee of 27 years in our courts for 10 years, with the Court of Common Pleas for 4.5 years, and starting in the District Attorney's Office for 13 years. Anne Marie Tansini is a remarkable individual. I can tell you that being a clerk in our district courts is meeting individuals in our community on the front lines, and they deal with a lot of circumstances that can be difficult. She has always been professional and a wonderful influence on her coworkers. She was, in 2019, she elevated to senior clerk position of the court, which she has since completed that task with distinction. It is on behalf of President Judge Carolyn Carluccio, it is my honor to recognize her and the work that she has done on behalf of our courts for the county.
Great.
Thank you.
So Anne Marie is actually my neighbor. So
Oh.
she lives behind me in our community, and she's absolutely fabulous. So I want to personally thank Anne Marie for her service to Montgomery County, and I've seen that she's really looking forward to retirement.
Well
and
deserved.
So well deserved. So thank you for being
Thank
here. Anyone else want to?
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna say, I don't personally know Anne Marie, but I want to wish her best. I mean, 20-plus years in the county and all that hard work and services to her job and dedication. I wish her well in her retirement. Unfortunately, I guess she's not here today because I'd love to hear some stories about her neighbor. But I guess that'll be for another time. But again, I just want to thank her for all her years of service.
That's funny.
That's great. I also want to just wish her a wonderful retirement. And John, it's always great to see you. Thank you for coming in and speaking about her so we can hear through the view of her supervisor, department head, how wonderful an employee she is and how much she deserves this wonderful
Thank you.
retirement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, yeah. Thank you for your service, Anne Marie.
All right. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the June 6th, 2024 meeting of the Montgomery County Salary Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner DeBello. Any board comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have a good day, everyone.